season finale. It was good, but also the end. And unless it was specifically written to be the ending of a show that's definitely getting a second season, then it was extremely underwhelming. But if it was part of an overarching arc where the show is definitely getting renewed, then it was a pretty good ending. Definitely not the ending I was expecting for this show, uh, but it moves us in the right direction, assuming a multi-season story arc. So I'm going to spoil all the things, so make sure to pause, go watch the episode, come back when you're done, and we're going to go from there. So this is obviously the big hoorah. I'd say the core aspect of this is them setting up I want to say it, and I'm going to say it, psionics division, because I'm having flashbacks to like the psychic wars in Babylon 5, and basically the psionics that were a part of that universe and its science fiction tale. And I feel like that's where this is headed. They've appointed 3 people to be these. Well, I'm gonna blank on the terminology, so I'm gonna go look this up, like wall breakers or something like that. And I'm horrible at wallfacer. That's what they're called. And the idea, I guess, is that they are a wall. So the theory here goes back to the previous episode where I was where we cued in on the old man ahead of everything, or at the back of everything, um, pinging off of the fact that the Santi can't read minds, and so the UN and the Global Defense Council, Planetary Defense Council, PDC, Planetary Defense Council, is formed of all the nations on Earth, and they decide that they're going to elect these 3 individuals to be at the core of uh, this new idea, the Wallfacers, who are going to be these 3 individuals who come up with plans in their head, and they don't tell anybody what those plans are, and those plans are designed to be other ways that the Shanti can be beaten, and hopefully things that the Sophons can't spy upon because it's all going to be up here, and working towards, I'm assuming, some sort of mental communication or something along those lines. We'll see where the tech goes over the 400 years that it's going to take them for the arrival of the Santi. And it turns out that at the core of all of this is Mr. Stoner over here uh, getting elected to be one of those individuals because for some odd reason, the Santi want him dead. The beginning of this episode is him having a one-night stand, and he's seeing the chick off to her Uber the next morning, and they're having a bit of a debate about things. And in the middle of that debate, he gets inadvertently pushed out of the way by a kid on a skateboard, and the girl he's with gets hit by a car. And it turns out that car was self-driven, and there were multiple other cars that were self-driven at the same time that were all hacked at the last possible moment to try to take him out. And when he's first given the assignment, he's like, I don't want it. He walks out the door and he's wearing they made him wear a bulletproof vest, and he goes outside, he gets shot by a sniper. And for whatever reason, the Shanti want him dead. The Santi want him dead, which is why he reluctantly accepts, because it's like, well, obviously I'm important to whatever they think the resistance is, so I guess I should take this upon myself. Now, the introduction of these guys at the end of this season, in the last episode, suggests that we are meant to have a cliffhanger of an ending leading into season 2, because there's no other reason to introduce these Wallfacer guys if we're not setting them up to be an important part of the season 2 story. Which, honestly, the way things were left off at the end of this episode kind of feels like we're going to be seeing a time jump when we start off season 2. Because this one is left off in such a way that it's all about, well, we've done everything we can to prepare for that 400 years in the future eventuality. Time for us to go to sleep with the cryo stuff and wake up and see what happens. However, at the same time, we have the reality that after he gets yeeted off into space, one of the tethers for the sails comes loose, and he goes drifting off, of course, into space. And when that happens, of course, she's devastated, and the old man is on a plane and gets a vision from the Santi, and like, oh, we're so sorry about your lost pilot, but don't worry, I'm sure you'll be able to survive on ice, and we look forward to meeting you. We've got big plans. And then they go on this rant about how every waking moment for the rest of your life, we're going to be there in your head, making you see what we want you to see. And he starts seeing the countdown numbers, and then like a bloodied face where he's carved his own eyes out. And so it's gonna be, you know, even though they can't see into our minds, they can make him see things with their technology, um, which is terrifying. But also, it just shows that they're watching every single thing we do. So I don't know if we're going to get him back in season 2 or if he's just completely lost and drifting off in space now. And I may have inadvertently, again, I've never read the books, and I have never watched the 10-cent version of the show, but I can surmise after I did some, and I said this in the last episode, episode 7, where I had to go look up the Dark Forest theory that they had presented in the show, because I was like, what is this all on about? And when I read that theory, quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Of alien races, one of the reasons we haven't seen a lot of proof of alien races is because they're all trying to keep their electromagnetic signals to a minimum and avoid detection, because there are other big bad spacefaring, you know, um, civilizations out there that may want to wipe other ones out. I don't want to read too much into that, but the fact that the old Chinese scientist gave that to Saul as a clue in the last episode leads me to believe that that's going to become an integral part of the plot line moving forward, because if the Santi are so afraid of other civilizations coming to find out how they are, and that's why the whole reason they went to Earth was to take them out so that they themselves wouldn't be taken out, it shows that they are no different than humans in that regard. And it also shows that they are afraid of other spacefaring races, and we should probably be too. And it makes me wonder if there's going to be some intergalactic conflict coming down the pipeline, wherein which we discover that we are a small cog in a much bigger universe. I mean, it makes sense if you look at it from like the Mass Effect franchise perspective, the Babylon 5 perspective of, we're never just alone. It's never just one or two species. It's 10, 12, 15, all of these different planets that have figured out how to go into space and figuring out a way to come together to avoid conflict. Although, you're always going to have, I remember in was it Deep Space Nine, the Ketracel White guys. What were their names? They followed the leaders. They followed the voices of the shapeshifters. It's been a long time since I've seen that show, but it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I'm rambling at this point. Good episode. It was a solid ending, not what I expected. And again, if told in the context of a standalone series, it was a very weak ending. But if told in the context of a multi-season arc, it's setting us up for things to come. The end shot here is Benedict Wong's character, the inspector, taking Saul and her, I think it was, out to a field of locusts, and he's like, "Look at those. Those are bugs. It doesn't matter what we do. We've sprayed them with pesticide. We've burned them. We've flooded them. We've tried everything in the book to eradicate those pests, those bugs, off the face of the planet, and yet they still exist. We've never been able to do anything about it. So let them consider us as bugs, because we are just as resilient as the locust." And I was like, that's an interesting way to end the show. But it also ends it in a way that even if it never got a second season, it would be sort of a satisfactory ending, but not a great ending. Anyway, Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below. We're obviously done with the Three Body Problem on Netflix, but I would urge you, if you liked my watch through of this, stick around. I've got other stuff coming in the pipeline. We've got Star Wars Acolyte coming this summer. I do films with Chris. Getting ready to. We just watched the most recent Roadhouse. I'm going to compare it against the original Roadhouse. Stuff like that. I watch a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, but a lot of other stuff as well. So check out all the other playlists, and hopefully we'll see you in one of the live streams, which happen daily here and on Twitch, as I continue to do games, movies, and tabletop and nerd stuff all around everything. There's a Discord, a Patreon. See you there. Till next time, everybody. Happy viewing.